Hey there, welcome to a brand new episode of Muzikxpress. My name is Twan and in today's vlog you will see my interview with Susana in which she tells the story behind Shivers, her classic with Armin van Buuren. But before we start with the interview, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and very important, also make sure to click the bell button because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. Alright, here it is, the story behind Shivers, my interview with Susana. Enjoy! Susana is a Dutch singer, songwriter and performer who's a well-known name in the trance scene for more than 15 years. She did already work together with people such as Ernesto vs Bastian, Aly Fila, Lange, Bart Claessen and of course Armin van Buuren. In the year 2005, Susana did sing the vocals on Armin's track Shivers, which became a big success in the clubs and on festivals, but also on radio. Even after all those years, Shivers is still a crowd favorite. Earlier this year, in January 2021, Shivers was voted by the fans of Armin's radio show A State of Trance as the #1 song in the 20-year history of the show. During the live broadcast of A State of Trance 1000, Susana received a special award for this massive achievement. For this week's episode of Muzikxpress, I sat down with Susana in her studio to talk with her about Shivers and more. My first question to her was around what age she became interested in music.
I became interested in music. I think I've been interested in music my whole life. As long as I can remember, I somehow knew I could sing and wanted to be a singer. And I would practice like in my room at home. And I did not really grow up in a musical family. Like my parents like music, of course, but they don't play any instruments or something like that. So my family sometimes joked like, we don't know who you got it from. And I was also a little bit shy, so I didn't really tell people that I wanted to be a singer until I was a little bit older. But yeah, so basically it's been with me from the day I was born, I guess.
Since forever.
Yeah, and when my brother he's 3 years younger than I am, and my parents did tell me that when they came home with him, I was sitting on the stairs singing a song I made up myself about how happy I was to have a little brother. So
there's no recordings of that?
No, unfortunately, and I can't remember the song either.
So, but I believe you took classical singing lessons in your youth, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, I started doing that when I was 14 years old. So I had just started high school pretty much. And I chose a high school on purpose where they did a lot of theater and music. Because I always had this dream ever since I was young to be a singer. So I purposely chose a school where I would have an opportunity to perform and play with other musicians and make songs. And actually the head of the school was a former music teacher. And the first time I performed publicly in the school, it was a Christmas play. He actually went up to my parents and was like, your daughter is really talented and I think it would benefit her if she takes professional singing lessons and gets a coach to kind of guide her because she's still so young. I was 14 at the time. And he put my parents in contact with a vocal coach, and she was an opera singer. So she taught me, her name is Kirsten Schutteldreier, and she taught me the classical singing techniques, which I think is a really good basis to have, because obviously opera singers have to be able to sing without a microphone and still be heard. So maybe that kind of explains my sound, because I often get like comments from fans about my powerful vocals, and I guess maybe in part that's due to the fact that I have the technical the classical techniques for your breath and everything from a really young age.
So it was a good idea to put you on this classical lessons.
Yes, definitely. I do admit I had a bit of a hate-love relationship with classical music. I never really enjoyed singing it, and I was really self-conscious about it, because technically it can be quite challenging, but it did teach me a lot, and I think that's often with things that are a bit challenging for you, that's where you actually learn and grow, and
So for this interview we're going to talk about Shivers, a track you did together with Armin van Buuren back in 2005. The lyrics of Shivers are written by Res Nitsen and Adrian Broekhuizen. Can you tell how you got to meet them?
Yes, I was in a band as a teenager as well, and during one of the performances with my band, we performed a lot locally. A neighbor of further down our street where we were living at the time, he came to see the performance and he thought, okay, she has a good voice. And then he had a family member who owns the biggest vinyl pressing factory in Holland or in the EU.
Oh, record industry.
Record industry, yes, in Haarlem. And he knew that inside of that building there was also the studio of these two producers who were doing a lot of vocals, a lot of top lines for in the dance music scene. So that's how I got introduced to Raz and Adrian, because it was their studio. And I remember going there with a demo CD from my band, which was a rock band. And they listened to it and they were like, yeah, you have a good voice, and it sounds like your English is good, because I really remember that they explained that they wanted to do some takes with me just to hear if I didn't sound very Dutch singing English. Mm-hmm. And I think I passed the test, because a few weeks later, I believe it was, that they called me and were like, can you come back to the studio, because we have written a vocal that we would love you to perform. That wasn't Shivers, by the way, that was Dark Side of the Moon, which was my first ever trance release. But the one after that, I believe, was Shivers, and indeed it was written by them, because at the time I basically came to the studio as a session singer. So I would come to the studio, they would give me the lyrics, they would sing to me what I would have to sing. I would practice the song and then we would record it.
So you were not involved with the writing?
No, not at all. No.
Do you know what the meaning is behind the lyrics?
Yes, well, Shivers is really a breakup song, but I think you can put it in like a wider context. It's basically about the end of a relationship and you not wanting that other person to leave, whether that is your partner or another loved one. So it's not just the end, it can relate not just to the end of a relationship, but also when someone passes away and then you feel so empty and lonely, and it's like world don't turn around, music make no sound, like how can the world keep going if you're not here anymore, you know? So, and I think, yeah, that part, like, don't leave me, love me just a little bit longer, I think so many people can relate to it. So, and also because even if you didn't write the song, you still have to, I think that's what makes a really good session vocalist, is the interpretation of the song. You have to feel it even if you didn't write it. Yeah. And with Shivers that was really easy.
Yeah. So was the instrumental version of Shivers finished already at that time?
I don't remember, actually, because I know that the instrumental version is called Birth of an Angel, but I can't remember what exactly we recorded on. I've
heard that at the time of recording Shivers, you didn't really know who Armin was. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true, and it's not a secret. I had heard of him, and I had also heard of Ferry Corsten. And at that time I thought they looked similar, so I wasn't really sure who was who. But I had heard of them before.
Okay.
Before, yeah.
Do you remember meeting Armin for the first time?
Yes, yes. And that was actually, I don't know, maybe a year after we recorded Shivers. When for one of the rehearsals for the first Armin only show ever, which I think was in 2005. That first Armin only show was in Ahoy in Rotterdam, and the rehearsals were at Panama in Amsterdam, and that's where I first met him.
So, but the song was out already then?
Yeah, it had already been out, had already been a success.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it took a while before we got. And when I tell this story, people are often surprised. People who are not working in music, because they always imagine that you're sitting in the studio together, but that, as goes to show, isn't always the case.
Yeah. So the track Shivers was the first single from Armin's second artist album Shivers. So when the track was released, do you remember hearing it on the radio for the first time?
I'm not sure if I remember the exact first time I heard it on the radio, but I do remember it was played. There was this thing on one of the biggest radio stations in Holland, the radio is called 538, where they would take a new song and would ask their listeners to vote for it, and it's called Maak het of kraak het, which means in English I think make it or break it. So then you would be able to call in or maybe send a text. Or did we have SMS around that time? I think so, right? Yeah. And be like, I want to make this song or I want to break this song, and it a bigger percentage of voted for maak het, make it. And actually, there was a funny story that my cousins or nieces, I always mix the two up.
Same.
Yeah, they called into the show. And they're younger than me, so I think they were like 14, 15 years old at that time. And they were like, yeah, that's our niece singing that song. And then they were like, oh, and what's her name? And then they said my Dutch name, Sanne, which they were like, oh, we don't see that on the album or something. Isn't she Susana? Oh yeah. It was. I thought it was so cute that they called into the show. They were really excited.
Yeah. So Shivers also entered the UK charts, and in the Netherlands it even made it to the number 25 in the Dutch top 40. Were you surprised by the success of the track, or did you already have a feeling that this would be a big one?
I was surprised, yeah, and maybe for context, it's nice to explain that I wasn't that involved. I didn't even really know trance music before I started working with Raz and Adrian.
You played in a rock band, right?
Yeah, I was in a rock band, and I was in university at the time, and yeah, it's like nowadays in my career I'm really involved. I'm proactive. I'm basically in charge of my own career nowadays, but back then everything just kind of happened to me, and yeah, I can't really remember how I felt. Sometimes like, oh, I wish I maybe would have taken more time to pause and really realize what was happening, because it was really special. And but of course it was an amazing feeling to have a song like on the radio, like, oh my god. Yeah,
your dream was becoming true.
Yeah, exactly. And so I didn't see it coming, but it was really exciting.
Yeah. You actually remember the very first time you were singing Shivers live on stage?
Yes.
I guess that was the Armin only
that
then,
was
Rotterdam?
Armin only in Ahoy. Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, oh my god, I was extremely nervous. And they had this long runway I had to walk on, and I was used to playing in a band, so then you're with other people on stage, and the songs are like 3-4 minutes maximum. And it's like very traditional. Rock songs are traditional in the sense that they have a verse and another verse and maybe a bridge and then the chorus, and then it's repeated. But in trance music you often have these long instrumental parts in between, and I was like, how am I going to remember when to sing, I'm counting in my head all the bars, like 8 bars, and then I have to sing. So a lot went on in my mind, and I also wanted to perform, so I'm just gonna walk and then make some movements, and there's a video of it still on YouTube. Maybe you can link to it. But I remember it felt amazing. I was really nervous, but I think that's normal. And it felt amazing. I remember like seeing the crowd like beneath me, and the lights and everything. And when it was over and I walked back, like, I want to go again, I want to go again. And I also remember Armin's manager at the time, Michael from Armada, he was waiting. And I guess he thought I did a really great job because he hugged me. He was like, oh my God, it was amazing. And I was like, ooh. Yeah, so that was a lot of adrenaline.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. So you had like family members there and friends? Yeah,
I had some friends and family, and yeah, it was really
special
night. Yeah, I will never forget it.
Yeah. So the track is over 15 years old now, and during the years you must have performed Shivers live lots of times. Is there one gig you did perform it at that really stands out?
Oh, there are so many highlights. Just the Armin only tours themselves, amazing experience, but also more recently in 2017 performing Shivers during the Best of Armin Only in the Arena, which is like one of the biggest venues in Holland, maybe the biggest one. And yeah, I think my highlight, the most special one was performing Shivers at the Tomorrowland main excuse me, at the Tomorrowland main stage in 2019. Yeah. Especially because it was only that performance was on Sunday, and it was only the Thursday before that I got asked to do it.
Was a bit last minute?
Yeah, because the Tomorrowland's always 2 weekends, and the first weekend I performed Shivers with an orchestra, and I was going to do that again on Sunday. And then the creative director of Tomorrowland apparently and Armin were like, why I'm going to be there, like why not ask her to perform on the main stage as well? So that was like when they called me, I was like, oh my God, yes.
So I guess you were also nervous for that one?
Yeah, I was nervous for that one, but I think if you're not nervous anymore, then I think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So how was it to travel around the world with Armin and the crew to perform at all the Armin only tours? I guess a lot of jet lags?
Yeah, well, I was on 2 Armin only tours, and I think, those were definitely some of the best experiences of my life. I love to travel, first of all, and I love music. And it's amazing to work on a show with other creative people, like with a whole group of people, like you have a whole crew, the artists, but also the people doing the lights and the dancers, and just everyone involved, and it really felt like this one big family, and we had a lot of fun together, and we cried also together, and the jet lag and being so tired, and the crowds, and it was really, really amazing. And it was also on those tours that I discovered my passion for trance music, because that's where Armin had 9-hour shows, so I was hearing trance all the time, and I loved it. I was like, why didn't I discover this music before? And also that's where I got to actually connect with the trance community themselves, with the fans, and with other artists, and that was really inspiring. And I think that's also when being on tour with Armin was really when I realized I want to turn this into a career, and when I became really dedicated to trance music.
Yeah, because at the time of Shivers you were still studying?
Yes, I was 19, I think, and just started studying in Leiden.
So do you have any idea how many times you did perform Shivers on stage in total during like all these shows?
No, I wouldn't know. Like the Armin only shows, I think I've done 30 maybe on the two tours. But in my life, I wouldn't know.
So are there any other cool highlights or crazy things that happened on shows that you can share?
There was, of course, always like backstage shenanigans. you know, I remember especially the first tour, I was really close with Jennifer Renee and Chris Jones and with everyone really. That maybe because it was my first tour and I was still so young, that those are some of the best moments. But you know, we also now I come to think of it, like crazy things that happened. One time we were doing New Year's Eve show in the USA and I was performing Shivers, I believe, or If You Should Go, one of the two. And then in the corner of my eye, I saw this guy, random guy, from the crowd. He managed to get up on stage and he took his shirt off and he was dancing like that. And I was like, I'm just gonna keep singing. And then the stage manager, our stage manager, Rutger, I saw him like sneak up on him from behind and grab his legs near the knees, and that's when you lose your balance, I guess. And then he just almost threw him down off the stage, but and in the meantime I was like, the show must go on. I'm just gonna pretend like nothing happened. So yeah, it's. So
is there a video of that one? Do you think?
No, I don't know. Oh, I also don't remember the name of the arena. Oh, and that same night I had gone outside because I had really bad cell phone reception. Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go outside and call this friend of mine who was coming to the show. And then when I wanted to go back into the venue, the security guy was like, "No, you're not getting in." I'm like, "I'm performing here." Yeah, you know, everyone is saying that. Like, no, but really, I have to perform in like half an hour, and I don't even remember how I managed to get back inside, but I was really sweating at that moment. I was like, oh no, don't tell me I'm going to be standing here while I have to perform Shivers or something.
Oh wow, that would have been bad. So are there still any countries you would love to perform at, but that you've never been to yet?
Mexico.
Yeah,
I've never been there, and I think I know people in Mexico are crazy about trance. So I think that would be amazing. And I studied Latin American studies, so you know that would be fun to go there and practice my Spanish and just explore the country as well.
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah.
So earlier this year, in January 2021, Shivers was voted by the fans of Armin's radio show A State of Trance as the #1 song in the 20-year history of the show during episode 1000. So how did you feel when you saw Shivers had been voted #1? Was it like a big surprise for you?
Yeah, it was a huge surprise because I didn't know it was #1. Like in November, so a few months prior, I did get an email from the team saying, you know, we have the countdown broadcast and can you block the date in your schedule? Because, you know, because of COVID, they couldn't bring too many people to the studio, and it's like, okay, so they're just inviting some Dutch artists to be there. And of course, they expected Shivers to end up somewhere in the top 100 or something. And then, like I think a week before, it was confirmed, like, yeah, we would love you to come. Because they did tell me it's in the top 50. So we would love you to be there. And I just figured I would be there and some other Dutch trance artists would be there. And then when I got in the car to go to the studio, the countdown was at number 18 or 20 or something. And I was like, okay, they haven't played it yet, so it's in the top 20 at least. And they had not played Remilia yet. Because they did inform me a while before which tracks were in the top 1000, but didn't tell me which positions they ended up. And then when I walked into the studio, I actually heard Remilia being played, and that turned out it was at number 10. So I was already like, oh my god, Remilia is number 10, and then Shivers is in the top 10. And then Ruben came up to me, he's like, hey, great to see you here, and but you have to stay out of the view of the cameras because Shivers is #1. I was like, what? Yeah, it was like a big moment. Yeah, especially when I was like, now they're gonna interview me and what am I gonna say, and yeah, really excited.
So during the live broadcast, Armin said you guys should do a follow-up. Is there something in the works already?
Well, all I can say is that if I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
Okay, so we have to keep an eye on your socials, I guess.
Always.
Yeah, of course. So is becoming number one in the A State of Trance Top 1000 also your personal highlight when it comes to Shivers?
It's definitely a big highlight because it's a huge honor to have the listeners of A State of Trance vote for Shivers out of tracks that have been played over a period of 20 years. For Shivers to get the most votes, that's like a huge honor and was really, really exciting. If it's the highlight, that's hard to say because
there's several highlights.
There's several highlights. Yes, I wouldn't be able to choose.
Yeah. So besides Armin, you also did work together with Ernesto versus Bastian, Dash Berlin, Ram, Aly Fila, Bart Claessen, Lange, and your new song "Weather the Storm" with Our Sonic just came out. Can you already tell what else we can expect from you later this year, collab-wise?
I have been working on multiple collabs and some solo stuff as well. And one of them is Richard Durant. We've been working on something. I'm gonna do like a collab with Steve Allen and Darren Porter, which I'm really excited about because I love both of those artists' music, and I think they're great people, really nice people as well. I also have in the works a collab with a trance duo that I haven't worked with before. But, until everything, the song is not even finished yet, so I'd rather not spill the beans yet. But, and I'm working on releasing a song as an independent artist. So there will be a solo release. Not sure when it's coming yet, still in the process of finishing the song, but I'm hoping to release it sometime this year. So there's enough in the pipeline. And I'm really excited to slowly start sharing everything. Oh, and I have another one with Ram coming up. It's not a original track. We're doing a cover song of this track called "The Power of Love."
Was it the Frankie Goes to Hollywood one?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's a good song.
Yes, that's also coming later this year.
So around Christmas, because I think they used to play that original a lot during Christmas.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should talk to Ram about it because I think we're planning more for it to be out in like September.
Okay.
But so keep an eye and an ear out for new music.
Lots of stuff to come.
Yeah.
Good. So besides being a vocalist, you're also responsible for the lyrics of most of your tracks. Can you tell a bit more about how the writing process works for you?
It's fun. I actually got this question yesterday from someone, like, is it the music first or the lyrics first? I don't play an instrument, so I prefer to work with instrumentals. So if I work with someone, then I usually ask them, the producer, to send me like a piano or already a more finished production, and then I just write on top of that. And sometimes I already have an idea for a song in my head before even hearing the music, and other times I will just start listening to it and then just improvise and see if some words come up, and then maybe they inspire me for, this song is going to be about this, Sometimes I let the music tell me what the song is going to be about. But I also know there are vocalists who write themselves on a piano and then send their top line to a producer and then they build the track around it. So there's not really one way of doing it.
Yeah. So how long does it usually take you to finish some lyrics, or is it like really?
It really depends, because last year I was working on something and that really took me, 3 weeks. And more recently I worked on a song which I wrote in like 2 afternoons.
Oh wow.
So it really depends.
Yeah, if you're like inspired or not.
Yeah, and also sometimes on the music, some productions are a little bit more challenging for some reason to come up with something that feels good, or sometimes I have in my head what I want to say, but obviously I'm not a native English speaker. And when it comes to songwriting, I see images in my head of what the song will be about, and not so much the words. So then I have the image, like the scenes are playing out in my head, but then I have to find the right words for it, and sometimes it just takes me a while to find those, the perfect line that really fits what I want to say.
It has to fit as well, of course.
Yeah, it has to make sense, it has to fit the melody and everything, and sometimes it's like, oh, I want to fit in this extra word, but I don't have room, so I have to change it around. But I've noticed that what really works well for me is just to go outside, go on a walk, or take my bike and start cycling around. And that's when I get ideas. Like for Northern Star, you have this, with Ram, this line like, give me a sign. I thought of that when I was on my bike. And the same with Daring to Love with Kieran McCauley. I was on my way back from having coffee with a friend. And I was thinking about the conversation we had about fear of commitment and stuff, and then all of a sudden, and I had already started working on that song, and all of a sudden I'm like, that's what the song is going to be about, daring to love. Yeah.
So is that what you do, like riding on your bicycle when you have like a writer's block?
Yeah, I guess it. I know I read a book once that our brain works if you needs a break sometime, and that's when the idea comes. So I think it can really help to just do. If you're stuck, to just go and do something completely different, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like you're freeing you're opening yourself up to the idea to come to you, instead of when you're like, I need to come up with.
Yeah, I feel like forced, like, okay, I need to write this lyric.
That doesn't work that well.
So out of all your own tracks, do you have a personal favorite one?
I get this question a lot in interviews, and I'm always like, how am I supposed to answer this question? Because
they're all your children, of course.
But of course there are a few that stand out in the sense of what they maybe meant also for me, but also for other people and for my career. One of my favorites from my earlier part of my career is Nothing at All. Because I think that was really the song that I felt like, oh my God, trance is really my genre, no? Like, it just, I feel connected to it, and it was almost as if that instrumental was made for me. That's what it felt like. I just loved it so much, and of course Vermelia. It's a very special song to me. Mainly because of also what it meant for other people, and it was a really emotional time. Because I also knew, because it was obviously written for Ram's wife, who passed away in 2013. So it was a really emotional time, but for me, Vermelia kind of shows you that something good can come out of your worst moments, something beautiful can come out of that. And I think her name was Amelia, that's why our song is called Ramelia. I always kind of like to think that she was a very warm-hearted person. She was always there for everyone, to help everyone. And I feel like Ramelia is like her way of continuing to bring comfort to people, because a lot of people still to this day message myself and Ram about how much the song means to them and how it helps them grieve their own losses. So, and I think that just really an example of the power of music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The beauty of music. Yeah. So that's a really, really special song, of course. And then Unbreakable with Aly Fila, which became Tune of the Year in 2016. I could go on. We would be here for another hour.
So you also help other artists with coaching and tips and advice. Can you share a bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's also something I'm passionate about, to help other artists, aspiring artists, basically build a music business that fits not only the career that they envisioned for themselves, but also the lifestyle they want to live. Because not all of us are comfortable touring all the time, and I think a lot of artists feel like, oh, if I'm not performing, I can't make an income. And I'm just really passionate about empowering more creatives to just go out there and start going after their dreams and doing that. If you have that talent, then I think it's worth going for it, and not wasting away doing some corporate job or something. Yeah, so that's why in 2019 I started my business coaching for artists academy, and I'm currently coaching multiple artists one-on-one, but I also have an online course, and I really enjoy it, and I love to see other artists grow, and
So if artists want to know more about that, where can they find you?
They can check my website, susanavocalist.com, and I also have an Instagram account. It's called Business Coaching for Artists.
Easy to find.
Easy to find, I guess, yes.
Good. So this year the compilation Susana Vocal Trance Rewind 2014-2020 came out. What can you tell about that compilation?
It was actually an idea, Raz's idea, to do like a compilation album, and I thought it was a really nice idea because to have like a collection of your works, and we kind of figured it would be nice to take that period, because for me, as I explained earlier at the beginning of my career, I wasn't that involved. I also didn't write, wasn't really involved in the creative process, but once I started to fall in love with trance music and became determined to turn it into a career, I also became much more involved and started writing my own things. So I feel like around that time, like 2013, 2014, is kind of like the new phase of my career, where I'm more in the driver's seat of my own career and taking the lead, basically.
So far it's only a digital compilation, but I've heard there will be a CD as well, hopefully.
Yeah, the order has been placed, but apparently there are some delays because
COVID.
Because of the pandemic. I think many more artists have started to sell physical CDs and vinyl, so I think they're just having some some backlog issues. I don't know what's.
So we still have to wait for that one.
Yeah, but I really hope it's going to be here within a few weeks.
So what else can we expect from you in the near future?
Well, we already talked about a few of the releases that are coming, and that I'm gonna release a track as an independent artist, and maybe if I feel that's kind of like an experiment for me, and if I feel that that's a good, what's the word? If I'm happy with the outcome of the experiment, I might do it more often, but that would mean me basically starting a label. Which sounds bigger than it is nowadays. It's not that complicated. But I'm excited to see how that will go. I have a new course for for artists launching in the fall. Last year I started also a web shop, the susanashop.com. So I want to expand on that as well, and just keep writing more music.
And hopefully touring again.
I would almost forget that that's a thing, touring. Oh my God, yeah, we used to do that sometime. Yeah, oh my, I can't wait for live shows to return, and also just to attend events and just hang out with people and see each other again. Because I also kind of miss seeing my colleagues, my trans colleagues at events and just working together on shows and stuff. So I'm having my fingers crossed that everything will get back to normal.
And the last question, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Well, my boyfriend is half Italian, so I don't think I would be able to say pineapple on pizza, so I'm gonna say without.
Okay.
I don't want him
to upset him.
No, I don't want to upset him.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with everything.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Alright, that was it. This week's vlog, the story behind Shivers, my interview with Susana. Susana, thank you very much for your time, much appreciated. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and very important, make sure to subscribe. Also make sure to click the bell button, because then you will get a notification the next time a new vlog is online. And also very important, if you enjoy my vlogs and my interviews, and if you want to see more in the future, you can help me to keep doing this by supporting me via PayPal, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee. Thanks to your donations, I will be able to keep doing this. Thank you very much. Every donation is very much appreciated. Once again, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.